Hello, good morning, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you for this session, which is full of nutrition. My name is Pooja Gupta. I'm the Regional Curriculum Manager at Klay, and I'm very happy to be here hosting this session along with Dr. Pooja Singhania, who will be my, guest and our subject matter expert. We all are always worried about, our children's nutrition, how they are eating, whether they're eating well or not, and we've received hundreds of questions from parents, and this is the right platform to discuss this. We are very happy and excited that after reopening, Clay is opening their kitchens are up and running in some of the centers, and understanding that children in past 2 years have missed on a lot, their physical development or the social interaction. When they're coming back to school, the nutrition is also a very important part, and Clay provides healthy, fresh vegetarian meals in our centers as well for children to have nutritious, fresh meals throughout the day. So, we have partnered with Nourish 1000 Days, who are renowned into developing nutrition meals and planning and giving to schools and children. We have partnered and we have curated a menu which will cater to the needs of the children, because they in these early years their immunity needs to develop. They need to get the right nutrition so that they are healthy and active all the time. So we have built in a together with Nourish 1000 Days, Pooja Singhania, Dr. Pooja Singhania, who's the founder of Nourish 1000 Days. She has a PhD in food science and nutrition, and she's also an infant young child feeling counseling specialist. She's also received Young Scientist Award by Nutrition Society of India. So a very warm welcome, Dr. Pooja Singhania, and thank you for helping us curate such a beautiful menu, and which will help our children be strong. And immunity is something which really they need to develop. We've seen in COVID times, all of us gone through. So thank you so much for coming on this platform, and it's overwhelming to see so many questions that have poured in from parents today. So it's going to be a interactive session full of lot of information for parents. So thank you for joining us today. And over to you, if you can, take us through what went into planning this, menu for Clay, what things you kept in mind, etc. So please run us through it.
Yes, thank you so much, Pooja Gupta. Yes, and I would like to, at the outset, thank Clay for this wonderful opportunity. Just a little bit about our organization. So, Nourish 1000 Days is born out of my personal experiences of motherhood. Okay, so it's like that when you are in the need for something, it leads to innovations or building something new. So, with my own challenges, I felt like I want to be a support to other mothers and help them navigate through this journey and give the best possible to the child. Okay, so it's the journey of the first 1000 days, that is from conception till 2 years, which is the foundation for a child's life, right? So, with that, this organization came into being. Yeah. And then, yes, coming straight to the interaction with Clay. So, it's been so exciting, developing the menu for these little ones, because firstly, I would like to say that being a mother, I always felt that having a menu in hand made me feel in control, like made me feel like I'm prepared. It was empowering. So I understand that, similarly, when the school has a set menu and we have worked on a menu like for 30 days, there are 30 different items coming in. So there was a lot of brainstorming happening as to how do we ensure that it's really unique, it is so nutritious. So again, focus on the nutrient requirements of this age group, where they are not just it's not just a one dimensional growth, it's a three dimensional growth, right? Like it's a length, height, head circumference. So we say that, it's a overall growth and development which is happening. So we had to take care of all the little nutrients that will be required. I mean, in addition to what we know as carbohydrates, protein, fats, we are looking at vitamins, minerals, and in that we're looking at things like magnesium, zinc, all which are very, very critical part of growth. So, nutritional soundness was the first important criteria here. And then we also looked at seasonality. So, that was again very, very important, right? Like, based on the monsoon season availability of vegetables, fruits in different regions, we had to come up with a menu which would best suit the child at that time, because we have to be in rhythm with nature, right? We have to respect what is available to us, we that is going to be good for us. So then seasonally what was right has been incorporated. Then regional menus. So now regional, there has been a diversity when it came to west, north and south. For example, as you can see here, the west menu has vegetables which are available easily in this area, and like the kind of cuisine the child is exposed to usually is incorporated. When we go to south, we have the other kind of vegetables, like we make use of coconut or we make use of snake gourd. So the vegetable changes, the dishes change. And then similarly for north, it is like chole, or it is dahi papri chaat as a snack menu. So again, there were many iterations where we thought, okay, yes, we want to give the child something that will be nourishing, yes, but at the same time little bit familiarity should be there, right? So there was a combination of this, that I wanted kids to try very different things so that they get used to different cuisines, palettes, right? Wherever you are, you should not have to bother whether my child is going to eat or not, because they are exposed to different flavors. At the same time also keeping some things which are familiar, so that the child feels, okay, yes, I'm used to this taste also. So trying to strike a balance between these was also taken care of. And of course, again, because as we always say, the children eat with their senses. So it's important to bring color on the plate, to bring different textures on the plate. So that again was taken care of. We are using varied vegetables, and then sometimes the idlis also having beetroot or spinach. So anything that makes it colorful, vibrant and interesting for the child. So those things were kept in mind while making the menu. Also combinations are taken care of. So I would like to really let parents know that we have taken very special care to ensure that foods are combined in ways that it will be easy for the child to digest, and also what goes well together, like, so there's a curry with the pulao, or there is, when there's chole, there's a raita. So where you feel like, yes, this kind of a combination will go well. And we have also been very cautious about combinations, that we are not including certain kind of foods which don't go well with certain things. So like when we are choosing our fruits and all in tea time, the snacks, we are also very cautious that we are not including the kind of fruits that don't gel well with regular cereals and pulses. So again, lot of thought has gone into those things. And finally, I'm very excited as the menu rolls out, because we would love to hear the feedback from children and parents and understand how things are being accepted. And I'm sure it will pave the way for parents also to see that the child becomes a happy eater, is more receptive to everything that's served at home also. So that's the attempt. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And yes, Dr. Pooja, thinking about it, I think as a mother, when I used to feed my children, this is what was told: feed this, either dal chawal or either just one pureed vegetable or something. But a wholesome meal to prepare, and for parents, it's really difficult. And for us working parents to have full nutrition on a platter in one meal and to bring it together, I feel definitely parents should opt out for this, school menu, because it has a whole package in it, which as parents and working parents, we are not able to provide at times. So thank you so much. And the menu looks lovely. For parents who are here, I think I have a question who asked, yes, we will be serving breakfast, lunch, pre-snack and snack, or for, menus are designed and everything is freshly prepared in our clay kitchens and served right before the meal time. So it's really really fresh, which we all are missing these days. We are so into processed food, right, Dr. Pooja? So there are so many questions that have come from parents, and I would take one by one. I think it's time that we take these questions as well. One parents often, when I've been with preschool for so many years, parents come and ask that, my child is a fussy eater or a picky or a choosy eater, these kind of terminologies that they use. And they don't like to eat this thing, they are very particular about certain foods. So what do you have to say about these terms that are used, and how can we help these children?
Sure. So this is, I think, one of the most critical topics here, and something that resonates with all mothers, right? So, firstly, I would like for parents to reflect on a thing like, say, supposing when we say, okay, this person is a foodie, okay. So what does it mean? Being a foodie, when each one of us might think of it in a relative way, okay. So being a foodie, okay, that you love food, okay, so is it bad or is it good? Who can say that, right? Now if a foodie is probably gaining weight and is unhealthy, then we say, oh, being a foodie is not a good thing. Yeah. Or if a person enjoys food a lot but is maintaining well, then it's a good thing, right? There is no harm in being a foodie. So foodie means you have love for food, but that does that mean it's bad or good? So similarly, now tagging children as being picky. Okay, so why should I not be picky with what I am taking? Like, so what I'm going to put in my body, should I not be picky about it? So aren't we as adults a little picky? Like, you can say that, "Hey, I don't eat at any place, I need to eat at this particular restaurant with this hygiene, or I could probably eat this, but maybe not in the morning, I will be okay to eat it in the evening." So there are things which we decide basis our understanding and processing, and maybe also what basis what body tells us, right? Now, similarly for a child, they are so in rhythm with nature, they are actually so aligned that they know what the body needs. And so probably they are using that judgment to understand, okay, this is what I can take today. Maybe at this time I only need a chapati. Maybe second next meal they will only eat vegetables. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't mean they're picky. That does mean that they're just responding to the body's need, or they're using the cues, which somehow as we grow up we start disconnecting, right? Because things become mechanical for us. So we just tend to end up, okay, like, oh, let's make this at least I will fill myself up, right? But it's not the same for a child. For them it's exciting. Every meal is a experience, it is an emotion. So then they look for certain things in that meal, and then if they choose something and reject something, it's okay. It's not that we need to tag them as being something like a choosy, picky and fussy. So and the more we attach these tags, trust me, it becomes a it's a it leads to a subconscious conditioning, okay, and that's not right, especially at such a young age. Imagine a 1-year-old being tagged, or a 16-month-old being tagged. So this might stay, and it's really wrong, because in childhood you're building an equation with food, you're building a emotion around meal time. So why do we make it negative in any way? Yeah, so firstly I would say, let's not use any tags, okay, always let's keep it positive. And secondly, if your child is showing interest or disinterest in something, respect that, and then try to understand. Say if at all it continues for very long, then we need to understand reasons around it, okay. So there is like one slide I would like to show. There could be certain possible reasons for child being choosy. Okay, so let's outline a few. One is, see, the child may not be hungry because of excessive milk intake. Okay, so that could be one of the reasons. There are many kids we know who tend to drink a lot of milk throughout the day, and so very little appetite is left for food. Okay, and this is common in I would say more in 1 year old, like 12 months plus, because we think okay nahi khaya to दूध पिला दो and at least they will fill themselves up, but milk takes a long time to empty from the stomach, 4 to 6 hours it takes. So imagine now till one meal has not gone, and then I'm supposed to eat the next, so it's going to be too much to handle. My system also cannot handle so much, and their stomachs are so small. So then we need to understand that too much milk intake can be a barrier to allowing the child to eat properly. Again, another reason could be that the child has not had enough stimulation or activity. Okay, so many times it happens. See, we are in nuclear families now. Parents are working. Sometimes you're not able to engage with the child the way you should. So you don't end up tiring the child enough, right? So the principle of food intake is intake and expenditure should balance, right? Now if I am not expending enough energy, then how do I take more energy in? Yeah, so it could be that this child is not worked up enough, has not had enough physical activity to feel hungry. So that could be one reason. So again, we emphasize a lot on stimulating the child in various ways, age appropriate ways of course, because depends on what stage your child is at, but age appropriate stimulation is very important. Then what the child has not eaten could be a perception of what the parent thought should have been eaten. Okay, so again, probably thinking of portion sizes, right? We think that a child will eat at least one chapati and then a katori of dal and sabji like we do, or probably we are expecting too much from them, right? Their portions are very small. They just need to eat small quantities to meet the needs for certain nutrients, and that's it. So at least when we are serving, we don't overwhelm them with bigger portions. Yeah, so that at least will give them a choice to tell you, okay, serve me this much mama, then you say okay, if you're done, if you feel like eating more, ask me, I will serve you more. So then they feel so empowered, like yes, I'm respected for what I need, and I'm if I like this, I will take another helping. So portion size is very very important. We tend to overestimate it or we may underestimate it, so best is to let the child guide. Okay, we always say in IYCF, like the infant and young child counseling, one of the biggest guideline is what you offer, and when you offer may be your choice, but how much the child eats and what the child eats is their choice, that we cannot govern. Yeah, so that again portion very important. Next I would say is that sometimes it is related to some physiological changes in the child. Okay, so a teething infant does not eat well, and that can go on for like a good 5 to 7 days or more, because they are teething, they don't have appetite, it's just. And imagine like there is a change happening in a baby, and they are so unaware, like they're still not got in terms with their environment, not yet connected, and some things are happening to them, so it affects appetite. So it affects our appetite also in so many ways, that see, supposing you have a presentation coming up, okay, so maybe you will be so jittery that you can't eat at all, right? Or typically there's a picnic next day, I'm so excited that I cannot sleep. Okay, so there are things like this in our life, and so same for the child. There would be a milestone, the child is trying to master the skill of crawling or walking, or maybe they are teething, they have some growth spurt going on. Any of these phases, impact is going to be on appetite. Okay, we like it or not, it's going to impact our food intake. Okay, because it's very psychologically related. So then this child may not accept, so let's understand what is the need, and then cater. So maybe when they're teething, they will accept what is crunchy, so you may offer a few crunchy things and you think okay, the child might nibble upon that. So one more thing to remember here is always offer the child a nutrient dense food. So अगर एक छोटा टुकड़ा भी खाए या चम्मच भी खाए, they'll get lots more, right? So meaning, supposing I'm making a paratha, I make it with some vegetables, I put in some seed powder, or I'm putting enough fat into it, so that even a one-fourth paratha is going to meet a lot of needs of the child, because we know that they might not eat like us, dal roti sabji, and they may not eat the whole plate. So they might end up eating one or two things. So we make it nutrient dense. Yeah. So coming to that there would be some milestones or physiological changes happening in the baby. And just one more very important thing, which I personally feel and I think it has, sort of changed so much over the years, is we don't let the children play outside in dirt. It's so important to play in dirt. So yes, I know that, okay, in our kind of societies we feel, okay, if the child is sitting next to a drain, or they are sitting somewhere, playing somewhere where it's not so clean, we feel like this is really unhygienic. But you know why B12 deficiencies are so common now? Because we are disconnected from soil. We are not connected to earth, and mother earth has so much to offer. So same like for a child also, you take them to parks or gardens which you feel are good, as them, but it's important to get that exposure. Playing in the mud is also fulfilling need for certain nutrients in ways which we don't understand. Okay, so yes, so these are the things that could affect the child's appetite. So could be possible reasons. Make sure you are checking off these, and then only, still if problem persists, then you think it's medical. But otherwise, it's all of this are met, then mostly the child will eat as per their requirement. Yeah.
Very, very, very insightful points, Dr. Pooja, that you shared with us, and we resonate with it because in our centers, we tell parents at times they come, that let them eat. We always overfeed them. When the child says no, we say no, 2 spoons, 3 spoons, and that is something we should not be doing. We should be respecting their nose, and
Hmm.
that's a very, very valuable point that you have added here. And definitely, mess is good at play school, and especially at play. We say we parents mostly do not let the children handle food by themselves, thinking that there'll be mess around, the child might not have
Hmm.
developed the eye hand coordination, so they will just fill the food more than what they will intake. So
Right.
we let them not explore the food, not touch the food. So
Uh,
for us, mess, every kind of mess is good, and even mess around food is good. So thank you for
sure.
adding that point.
Yes, yes, very true. And I
Also,
think also, yeah, sorry, also of course, when they sit and eat with the peers in your setup, then whatever is served is more acceptable, in the sense we are ready to try new things because of the social surrounding around us. So definitely eating like that is going to promote better eating habits also, and self-feeding skills also.
yeah, as likely said, we've seen parents or children who come to school. Parents say that the child does not eat well at home, but when they start eating and in the dining area along with their peers, they definitely develop their good eating habits more. They become better eaters. We have
Hmm.
seen that over the years, and
Yes.
that's why we certainly believe in that common dining areas in every sector of ours we are having, just to bring in that habit in children. So,
Sure.
adding to that, there's a lot of questions that came around. How can we make meal times more pleasant and peaceful for parents? Because parents are always stressed about this, right? How do I feed? They try different ways of distraction as well. So
Hmm.
that the child may take something little more, maybe will go inside. Kind of
Hmm.
those thoughts are going on. So, if you can help us give us more tips on how can we make that meal time more pleasant for the children, and
Hmm.
about these distractions which parents are often looking into. Should we be having those distractors or not?
Sure. So, see, the first important thing is that a hungry child will accept food, and if the child is not hungry, you can't do anything to ensure they eat, right? So, very simple rule is, if I'm hungry, I'll eat whatever comes. Yeah. So, and then the physiology of experiencing that hunger, again, like I said, is dependent on so many factors. That am I really, is my stomach really empty now? Am I experiencing hunger? Have I been so active that right now I'm famished, that I really need food? So first is that a hungry child will accept everything. You will need distractions only when the child is totally disinterested and not hungry. That's when distractions will be needed. So that is one thing all parents must remember, that please know that if your child has totally turned away from the food, meaning they are not hungry, so please wait and give it after a while. Of course you offer the same thing again. Don't get into making something that your child loves and then I say okay, at least ye to kha lega. No, you wait to for the child to get hungry and they will accept whatever you have made. So one is that. Next is, see, um, for all of us, when we eat meals, we like to eat with a good experience of it. So imagine, like, if you went for a fine dining experience, that what would you expect? That okay, that there is a good ambience, things are clean and laid out, organized, I have the best of the cutlery here, and there are smiling faces around me, people are serving me food with love, there is some soft music around, there's no clutter, there's no hurry. Okay, that, yeah. So many things are a part of our memories of fine dining. Or even say, not, if it is not fine dining also, if it is any memory of a good meal, it could be just at the family table, or maybe cousins eating together in one plate as children. Yeah. So but that memory is so special that we had fun. Who cared that we ate two chapatis or five, or someone got four and someone got three? But yes, they had a wholesome meal and they enjoyed it, right? So that's where the experience of every meal should be, and especially for children, because they are building memories from now only. So every memory of meal should be that mom and dad are happy, they are sitting peacefully, I've been served my meal in a clean plate, and there is a variety, I'm also eating similar to what parents eat at home. And then there is no rush to finish what has been given. There is no pushing or pressure to eat a certain amount that is given. Because as adults, even we don't like to be told, right? Like, okay, no, you have to eat this quantity, two katoris, or you're going to eat five chapatis. So we don't like to be told. Same for kids. They don't want to be. So the stress-free environment is the first, basis for creating a pleasant mealtime. And pleasant means, that's what will stick is the memory that this mealtime is happy for me, it's pleasant, it's an experience I look forward to every time it's mealtime. I should be looking forward to it. Yes, I'm going to sit with my family, we're going to talk, we are going to have some light chatter. So whatever it is, that emotion should stay intact, right? Till how much they ate and then what they ended up eating is secondary. And trust me, they are just going to imitate us, right? Like whatever the family is eating, they are going to start absorbing it. So if not today, maybe after a month they will eat what you are eating, because they have absorbed that this is what is eaten. So for them, imitation is the best way to learn. So that if you are being a good role model, then you can be rest assured that at least that subconscious thing has set in, and then it might just manifest in some time. So then we can be rest assured, right? And of course, just as we say that it's a full sensorial experience. So while the child sits with the family at the dinner table, no matter what the child is doing, however they are managing to eat, whether it's with full hands or with splatter or with everything all over the place or half the meal on the floor, that's okay. Let's not get frazzled about it. As a family, all of us then should accept, yes, this is how the child is mastering the skill, and we need to be patient and prepared that this is what it's going to be like. But that exploration is going to set the stage for a joyful meal time. Yeah. So that is what we can take care of.
I can
Yeah.
really connect with the points that you were saying, Dr. Pooja. Sorry to interrupt. I couldn't hold that feeling back. That experience with memory, and I'm a foodie. I love to cook. I love to eat, and I can connect every time. Having that, sitting with my sisters and eating out of one plate. I think that
Hmm.
memory stays with me for long. I miss those days. So I think that helped me become a better eater also. So thanks to that, I'm thinking now. So that just
Hmm.
took me
Hmm.
back in my memory. So
Yes, yes. So screens and distractions, honestly, Pooja ji, is required when you think that the child is not showing any interest in the food, and that means the child is not hungry. So screens, also it would be a subconscious learning for the child. One is, a parents need to reflect how they are eating meals. Okay, so if we are eating in front of television sets, or while reading a book, or even scanning through a message, then the child is observing you. So just please remember that that should not be done, because this child is grasping. And then secondly, if screen is required to thrust a meal, just remember that this is not going to stay with them for long. Like, you are not going to have any aids. Food is a matter of survival. It's meant to be eaten to survive. So you have to ensure your survival in this. Even this COVID time has taught us that, right? Like, even in bigger ways than we know, that survival depends on fulfilling basic needs. I mean, forget anything else. You may not have gadgets, you may not have things around you. What you are going to live with is yourself and your body, and making sure that you know how to cook and clean, and and navigate. I mean, stay with yourself, right? So yes, this is like, it's just that whatever we bring in, the child may get used to it. So if it is not used, it's never used. If the child is not eating, let them go away, come back to the same meal again when they are hungry. Say that this is what the family is eating today. If you like it, eat. If you don't, you can come back. Whatever it is, this is it. Yeah, so we don't give too many choices. We don't create a stress around it. We just make it very clear, but also it's always kept very simple and transparent. Yeah.
Adding on to that, I would definitely, I have this question, and it comes often with parents that, we say, ki, okay, let the child not eat, but they say, how many meals can a child miss? Maybe, there are certain days children, parents say, the child in school also, we see children, not eating breakfast, not eating lunch also. Then we get worried. We call up the parent at times to inform them that the child has not had two meals today, kind of skipping it,
Hmm.
just to keep them informed. So, how many meals, and there are days children don't eat and skip a meal. How many meals can they skip? And,
Hmm.
just to add more
Yeah,
information, share
sure.
how do the parents deal with this?
Yes. So see, basically for a child, we don't look at a complete like meal to meal wholesomeness. Okay, we may, or in fact, largely we may look at a weekly intake. Okay, so we average out thinking that okay, weekly intake is so much, so much. So again, like I said, based on their physiological needs or certain bodily changes, they are just probably accepting certain things at certain times, and then they may end up eating more concentrated in evening, less in the morning, or more heavier in the morning, less in the evening. Again, it will depend on their physical needs, or how stimulated they have been, or how tired they are. So basis that, it would depend. So honestly, parents need not worry about skipping one or two meals, or actually certain phases going like that. So like I said, teething phase would be a phase where child has very poor appetite. During sickness, child has very poor appetite. Very important thing about sickness is that, why do we lose appetite when we are sick? Because our immune system needs to work at its peak when we are sick. And when digestive system is working, immune system gets compromised. So your immune system needs energy to ensure blood circulation is all towards it, and it's able to do the building and repair work. But if digestive system is also on, then that gets diverted, and then I'm not able to heal myself better. It's a very important principle what we also follow in fasting, right? Like we say that fasting is healing for the body, because the time you are resting your digestive system, you are healing yourself. So same thing applies to kids. Like, they may lose appetite in sickness. Let's not force food, because the body is in a state of repair. So the more we allow that repair to go on peacefully, the better that child will bounce back. Okay. And trying to feed during fever, sickness, no, you haven't eaten anything, how will you get energy? They are deriving energy from inside when that repair is happening. So we have to let them decide. So same thing, like, if they skip meals, please respect that the body is not. Or if at all you feel, you may offer some opportunities for hydration and all. Again, you will offer an opportunity, but you still cannot dictate whether the child will have it or not. Yeah, so you give the right things, but you don't still expect the child to finish what you have given. So let's allow that. And like I said, they are built in with that survival mechanism, okay, innate mechanism to decide what I need, what my body needs. So we should respect that.
Yeah, that's a very valuable point, especially when they're sick and you know how we stress about their eating. And this is something that is a learning for me as well, that you know your body's immunity is working on it, so let it be. It's okay. And we always stress. I think we also say, how can you take medicine on an empty stomach? The child needs to eat something or adult. So that's something really, very informative that you have shared, Dr. Pooja. So I have another question which says, what is the right time to start solids or graduate to different textures? If you can, share inputs about the same.
Sure. Sure. So, again, going by what is the guideline by the World Health Organization and UNICEF. So, first 6 months we do exclusive breastfeeding, and then when the child has completed 180 days of life, that is completed 6 months, is then when we start solids. Okay, and again we say that is complementary food, meaning it is complementing breastfeeding. It is going to complement what has already been used since the first 6 months. Usko complement karega. That is going to be addition to it, not supplement it. It's not going to displace my breast milk. It's going to complement it. So at after 180 days, and then we are saying starting solids. Okay, so again the word here is solids. It's not again giving liquidy, thin soups and dals. It's again a guideline by World Health Organization that we don't start with thin runny liquids. We start with thick kind of purees, or sort of dense foods which are they're not runny consistency, they are a good thick consistency. And you start with those. That of course right now we do have the whole baby led weaning and traditional weaning. So baby led is again involving a lot of finger foods right from the beginning. If you feel your baby is prepared for finger foods, great. Otherwise you can do a mix, that you have a puree and you do have some finger foods for the child to pick and eat. Yeah, but that texture is like, in the first initial period you may be on purees, then you have to graduate to mashed by 8 months. By 10 months you will be coming to some semi solids or solid, and by 1 year the child should be on the family pot. The child should eat the way we are eating. But just imagine the trajectory. Okay, like within 1 year this child is going to eat what the family is eating. So it's upon us, how do we bring that child to that. And that's a graduation. It's a very important part of the child's learning, that yes, I'm eating what my family eats, the way they eat it. It's like the rice and the dal and the sabji, or it's the chapati. And so the texture that we are eating, that's the texture they will also need to be exposed to, and they should start eating. And then that will in fact give the child a lot of sense of independence, because knowing that you're eating and drinking like the adult in the house, it gives you that sense of pride and security. Yes, that I'm as big as them, or I'm as a part of the family meals as everyone else. So it's very important. So that graduation of textures. But there might be instances when a child is not accepting these textures. We need to of course be very patient in the first phase of the weaning. Like when you start solids, the child is going to gag, they're going to throw up, okay, because they're still losing the what we call as the tongue thrust. Okay, they're trying to master the skill of swallowing instead of pushing out. So that we have to be patient, let the child try. And anyway, see, like we said, it's complementary food, right? So the child might end up eating little bit, making more mess, but then it's not, they will still make up their requirements through the breast milk. So then we say we don't need to worry as much, because this exploration is more important. So that graduation takes place. And when you're also exposing the child to semi solids and solids, if you feel that the child is throwing, we have to still patiently keep showing that behavior. So we say that you model the behavior for the child. So you sit and eat in front of the child, that this is how I'm chewing, I'm using. Don't worry if they don't have teeth, and they have very strong gums to maneuver the food. Okay, so parents often worry, no teeth, so no solids. No, in fact, give the semi solid so that teething can be facilitated, because this jaw movement is so critical to everything, right? We know that even speech is so related to ensuring you're using your jaw. So you want your child to start speaking at the right age, you have to give exercise, so that exercise comes through the texture. If it's just a puree, I have to keep gulping, then I don't have to use so much, right? So it's so important that we keep graduating the texture, be patient through that learning. Yeah. And then keep modeling the behavior for the child, so then the child will accept the different textures. And then yes, but yes, at 1 year the child should be on solids. And just one thing here, if mothers are still continuing bottles and milk through bottle, then that graduation becomes very difficult. Okay, so again, not judging any mother here, I would just like to put this: we are never judging mothers for what decisions they take. But if it is done out of ignorance, then know that if we don't give that child that independence from bottles, bringing them to open cups. In fact, 6 month old also can drink from an open cup. So bringing that, bringing your child to that level, if you can do it, then that's where you will open the, avenues to eat every kind of food and bring them to that, family pot at 1 year. So that's very important.
So that's a very valuable point, and we at Clay actually, Dr. Pooja, take it forward at 12 months when we have infants who are migrating to a junior toddler section. We
Hmm.
do counsel our parents to wean off the bottle, and that's why from junior toddler we know that we require the solid food. We disencourage the bottle milk. If they want to have milk in class, that's encouraged because they need that milk intake.
Yes.
But a bottle feeding and during nap times, because they have all their teeth are there, and all those to prevent teeth decay, we do talk about these points. So that's again reassuring to our parents that we should be weaning off, and bottle feeding hinders the solid intake. So adding to
Very
what you were saying, there's a query from a parent who says that my son is 3 year old and doesn't chew the food. He will eat only grounded food. So you have any suggestion for this parent?
Yeah, so see, if again, one is we should reflect whether how milk is being given, right? And secondly, if it remains till 3 years, then we must have a physiological examination of the oral cavity. Okay, sometimes, like as lactation consultants, we come across certain oral restrictions in children, which tends to come in the way of effective swallowing and chewing. So one must get that assessed. But yes, I mean, I think largely what I said is, first rule out the fact that there are no bottles involved, there's no excessive milk intake, that the child is eating meals with family and seeing how the family is using, or I mean, able to eat different textures. Keep modeling that behavior. Also, in certain cases, it would also help to get in the child involved in certain sensorial activities. Okay, so it's somewhere, seems like very unrelated, but I've seen that when there are textural concerns in children, it helps when the child gets involved in textural play. So like playing with, giving them play doh, letting them play in sand, so that that they feel that texture, or helping, letting them help around the house for household chores of chopping, or cleaning, dusting. Those kind of sensorial activities also helps them to accept textures better, is my experience with toddlers. Yes.
Okay. Also, we have seen, Dr. Children, some children do have aversion towards mealtime. The moment we take them to the dining area, or the dabba is open, they start crying. They were happy till then, but the moment they see food or they are going to the dining area, some of them do take time to settle and fall into that routine. Some I've had in the past where we dealt with it. The child did come around. So many children that some will say, "I will vomit." They threaten that if you
Hmm.
feed me, then I'm going to vomit here and then, and they could deliberately do it. right? So to
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
level of aversion we have also seen at Clay in the past few years. So is there anything that we can help parents if they're seeing such kind of aversion in children?
Yeah, so firstly, I feel that this should not be as common, because really
Yeah,
not
it's not
having,
so common. Yeah.
yeah. But then, secondly, what I feel is, see, as we spoke, that every mealtime we have a memory around it, and children keep forming associations with foods. Okay, now, for example, there was this. There was recently a food technology expert who spoke about the memory we form with the food because of the olfactory sensorial experience of the food. Okay, so the moment you smell a food, it might invoke some memory. Okay, so for example, for me, maybe the smell of strawberries takes me to a vacation in as a child in summers, when say maybe I went to Mahabaleshwar or something. So that might invoke that memory, and it's a positive association, so I'm happy about it. But similarly, a child could have formed a negative association with a certain food, or with the smell of food, or sight of food, because of some memory associated with it. Okay, so here, like my son attended one storytelling session, and there was this cute story about khichdi, and then they said that there was a Hindi rhyme they sang, that khichdi ke char yaar papad ghee dahi achar. Okay, so like they sang that during the story, again and again they sang, and thanks to that story, my son loves to eat khichdi now. So I know that the association is so important, right? Are we able to be so creative around food that we help the child build positive associations, right? So that is now the parents sort of onus or responsibility to build positive associations with food. So you can still condition that memory, no matter how old your child is, you can always condition. For example, if a bindi was bought in front of me, and the mother had said, you have to finish this, otherwise you watch, this is it, you have to finish this. So this is a negative association the child is having. But what if it was like, this is a crocodile and he's sailing through, and let's he's in deep water, whatever, like you are just creating a story around it, and you are encouraging the child to eat that bindi, or a drumstick. And so then that association changes, and then you are able to bring things in yeah, line.
Wow, that also relates. I can relate with my son. He smells everything. He doesn't try new food. If he likes the
Hmm.
smell, then he's now 19 years old and he still does that.
Yes,
He
yes.
smells a particular food and that associates with memories. So, okay, now I know how to deal with it.
Exactly.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes.
There's a question from a parent who says that, should milk be a part of daily diet? Adulteration is scary these days, right? So, or can it be replaced with healthy drinks like Junior Horlicks, or we have Pediasure, so many brands that are there in the market. Should it be replaced? If yes, and is milk good or bad? How to check the quality of milk? A lot of questions around milk.
Milk.
If you can, share information around this as well.
Sure. So yes, when we did know that lot of questions are around milk, I was saying that I could spend an hour talking about milk only, right? So we can actually take it up as a separate session on milk, really. But yes, to address what is currently a if the child is not accepting milk, please don't try to ensure the child drinks it by adding different kind of additives of this this Horlicks, Pediasure. As a nutritionist, I would say that these are not required. Rather, if I have to really, वो जो कहते हैं ना दूध की शक्ति बढ़ानी, I want to increase the power of milk, which already apparently is wholesome food. So I would rather use dry food powders, or I may end up using a flavoring agent like, say, maybe kesar, or I might use some rose petals, gulkan, or I'm using simple badam, pista, whatever. But use those flavors, and I'm sure that will be like very, very nutritionally superior to using any of the commercial powders. Okay, So one is that don't try to ensure the child drinks milk by using these things or sweetening it excessively and all. No. Two, like I said, the child sort of understands their body needs, and if the child is rejecting milk, or like, so animal milk, so it's a milk of another animal, right? So if the child is rejecting it, we must respect that the child does not want to have that as a source of, or does not consider as a source of nourishment for their body. So it's not compulsory. In fact, now life has taught us that there are so many alternatives of milk, right? So because we are also becoming more conscious of the way milk is procured and brought to us, we understand that we could depend on alternatives of milk. So like, even in the menu here we have said that we parents could use alternatives, so which would mean things like coconut milk, or maybe the almond milk or cashew milk or peanut milk. And you will find a lot of information that all of these do bring in a lot of nutritional value. Although they are plant sources, they do fulfill your need for calcium and protein, right? Like the primary things which we feel milk is needed for, right? But no, you can meet your needs of these nutrients through the plant based foods as well. Okay, so that is again very important. And how much milk? So I would just say that up until 1 year we don't really introduce a lot of cow milk to the child. Okay, so that would mean that the child is primarily on breast milk, or if in any case they have been on formula, so that will continue. But then after 1 year, what the child needs is just about 300 to 500 ml in a day. Again, this is a guideline coming from years of experience of the toddler phase, that more than 3 to 500 ml is not required, because we then the child is just filling up the stomach with milk, milk, milk. And no food is everything, right? No food gives you everything. You need to have a diversity, right? So it's not like milk is good, so a full day I can have that, right? We cannot be on pills the whole day because they are giving multivitamins, right? So same, no food is all good, so we don't. And yes, again, also about the way milk is now brought to us, there is a lot. I mean, if I get into it, there are many layers to it. But yes, if you are able to, very simple funda is, if you're seeing the cow and the cow is well taken care of, take the milk. Otherwise, you can decide. It's like that.
Yeah, we all eat, drink out of those packets and bottles that we get in olden days. I think going to the dairy and getting the milk,
Yeah.
in front of our eyes, that was the healthiest. But our lifestyle does not allow that these days in our,
Hmm.
especially in
Hmm.
the urban places, that cities, big cities that we stay in, right?
Yeah.
So, very important question often comes to us, Dr. Pooja, is that is vegetarian meal meeting the nutrient of a child? Because
Hmm.
what about the protein intake? Often, we say ki children who are eating vegetarian food might not get the right amount of protein, and that Clay, since we serve,
Yes.
vegetarian meals, I would like you to please, please explain this to our parents and talk about it.
Sure. So, in fact, this is a topic very close to my heart, because I know that there is a lot of emphasis on getting these specific nutrients through animal foods. But so, of course, protein being the highlight here. Like if my child doesn't eat eggs, how do they get proteins? Or if they are not eating chicken and fish, and so they will not get it. But honestly, that's not the case. So, one very again important thing to remember here is nature designs food in a very holistic way. So why it's a blessing that mother nature designs food with all important components in it. Okay, and in fact there are combinations within the food that allow that particular nutrient to get absorbed into the body also. So where there is iron, there would be an inherent vitamin C which will allow the absorption of that into body. So same with proteins, there are essential amino acids even in plant food sources. But it's just that our body's ecosystem should be very healthy enough to start absorbing everything that's coming from the food. So one is that, and that ecosystem is maintained through a very good rich plant-based diet as well. Okay, because it means having a lot of fiber and all, which does come from plants, as we understand. And then secondly, yes, the protein, you if you're trying to meet your requirements on a vegetarian diet, you may have to ensure good combination of foods. So some things are again very already traditionally very well designed, like idli is a rice and dal combination, so very good quality protein. Khichdi is rice and dal, very good quality protein. Okay, peas are good quality protein. Green leafy vegetables give you good essential amino acids. So you have to just ensure that you are eating right combinations and you are able to balance things so that overall your protein intake is met, or in fact for that matter all nutrient intakes on a plant based diet can be easily met. So there are studies now coming up that we thought that a B12 deficiency is common among vegetarian population and not so, but that's not the case. They are seeing that vegetarians are, in fact, vegans are also having enough vitamin B12. So again, plant-based diet helps to meet all nutrient requirements. So we really need not worry. In fact, you have over here, you will also see in our menu there is so much of the use of like some of the seed powders. We are using till at some places, we are using coconut at some. Consciously we have brought in drumstick or different kind of vegetables there, because of the understanding that through the plant based food we are going to ensure all nutrients come in, and their big diversity that is there in the meal is also what is going to reflect as diversity in our intestinal microorganisms. Okay, so that's where that level of conscious planning has gone in there. Okay, so that definitely we are going to ensure that your child is going to meet their needs, and it can be done on a vegetarian diet as well.
Thank you so much. Two more questions, if you can quickly tell on that. So many questions from parents, dear parents. We might not be able to take all the questions, but we are trying to touch upon all points. Empty stomach versus potato chips, or junk food that children get used to, the packaged food that we are altering. And secondly, one parent has asked that my child is 2.5 years old and keeps the food in the mouth for 15 to 20 minutes, and we've seen that children, she takes an hour to finish a meal. So 2 points, if you can quickly touch upon because of the time constraint.
Yeah. Sure. So, see, the first question, that whether I'm going to let the child starve or give them what they need, I mean, what they really would be attracted to eat. So, again, here the question is whether I'm hungry or do I have an appetite for something, right? Sometimes, as adults, also, I'm extremely full, but if I see that maybe the rasgulla or something, I may feel like, no, I think I can manage to eat. So I have appetite for this, but I may not have the hunger for it. So again, now if you're giving your child a food which the child may accept due to attraction or appetite for it but is not hungry for it, then we are creating an overall disrespect for food, isn't it? We are thinking that food is something that we are going to use to fill ourselves up irrespective of whether we need it or not. Isn't that so? Isn't that a very wrong conditioning as a child, that even if I'm not hungry, at least because I'm trying to fulfill my mother's desire that I should eat, I'm eating something, but she has given me my favorite food. Also, very important thing here that I've also learned little later is that if you use junk food as a reward, it will always be considered as superior food. What is a reward? Reward is always superior, right? So if you say, if you eat this tinda, I am going to give you a Maggie, then it means Maggie is superior, means Maggie is celebration, and tinda is poor man food. Okay, that it's something that is a punishment. I am considering that a punishment, and reward is something junk. So imagine that learning that's happening for the child, that junk food is reward means it is superior. Reward is superior, right? So this cannot be considered a reward. No. Okay, in my plate I have chips also, I have vegetables, and okay, you eat it with your meal. Just ensure you're taking a balance, but don't make it a reward. You say, okay, you want to eat potato chips, keep it at the side in your plate only and eat it along with the food. Fine. Again, if we tend to become very animated, no, oh god, this junk food is going in, and this guy is going to end up eating more of this, the attraction is going to be more. This child is going to be drawn towards that, thinking that, oh, it's forbidden for me, means something is there, and I think I should have it more. Okay, so if you are making a, like an equal emotion towards a chocolate versus a turai or a drumstick, then you are also neutralizing every food. You're not considering any food as celebration reward, and you're not considering any food as a punishment, or a, like a threatening thing that I have to finish this. So again, that's very important.
That's really important tip for our parents, that we should not use food as a reward, and
Hmm.
especially foods which we don't want to encourage them to eat. Again, the question about keeping the food longer in the
Pocket.
mouth in one side and children keep it, and we've seen that.
Yeah.
So, what is your
So
take on those parents?
we typically call that food pocketing actually, and in fact, we have developed at Nourish 1000 a food pocketing guide, because there were parents who were facing that, and then we started reading about it, learning. But yeah, just to again summarize it very quickly, that food pocketing could be because of the child's inability to move the tongue from side to side to maneuver the food. Okay, that could be one of the reasons. Again, like I said, when I talk about physiological, parents like to think, yeah, I'm sure it's physiological and it's not psychological, but rule out other things, like whether the child is really hungry at that time, whether the child is being fed by the right person, the child is finding that person pleasant enough to eat food from, and whether the child is really hungry, interested in the food. All of that first you rule out, and then you go to physiological causes. But yes, food pocketing is common, and it could be because of the inability to shift the food or maneuver the food with the tongue.
Okay. So thank you so much. One more question is about allergens in food. Some
Yes.
food parents are concerned about allergies in the initial
Hmm.
stage, so they decide
Yeah,
upon it.
correct, correct. So, in fact, even I wanted to discuss it on this platform. That one is, see, there is now a growing sort of awareness that the earlier you introduce a child to allergens, that is exposure in the early 6 months when they're starting to eat food, the better is the tolerance to that food. Okay. Now, having said that, that is applicable for things like eggs and say peanuts and certain other nuts or protein rich foods, which say maybe like we fear in adding to the child's diet. But again, there could be there are still sort of divided opinions about it. Nevertheless, what I want to say is that when you are looking at a food which has a certain kind of proteins, say especially those coming from milk or wheat. Okay, these are the proteins which are known to be allergenic across populations, across age groups. Okay, again, there can be a very detailed discussion on all this, but yes, milk related or wheat related. But other than that, do not hesitate to introduce the different kind of nuts and seeds for your child. So of course, like at Clay, we are very conscious of not including any allergens, right? So we, at least we don't introduce it, but I would encourage that at home parents should try to understand where certain things can be started at the right age, so that the body develops a tolerance towards it. And especially it holds true for nuts and seeds, and say maybe to certain extent animal proteins or coming from eggs. But yes, those are the things. The early exposure helps to improve tolerance. And again, it will also depend a lot on the child's gut environment. Okay, so like I said that if your intestine or your ecosystem is very well designed, or it's it has the diversity of microorganisms, so then your body will be able to tolerate and accept everything. So we need to work on those things more than understanding what to eliminate from the child's diet, honestly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. And I just feel like keep on talking. There's so many questions still unanswered, very specific, but we, in a broader way, try to cover all aspects around nutrition and in these early years for sure. So, I would request other parents, sorry if we were not able to take your question,
Yeah.
or if it's not answered, we will try to get back to you with your answers. But thank you so much, Dr. Pooja. It was really a insightful session for all of us, and I'm sure for the audience as well. That talking about something which is so special to parents. They are always worried about their child's nutrition, and nonetheless, I would request parents to opt for school food which we are offering, because as you heard from Dr. Singhania, that a lot of thought process has gone into it, and a lot of nutrition packed food which is served at school, fresh food, vegetarian food. So please do offer it, and that will help your child develop good eating habits. Sitting with friends and eating and enjoying the same meal is nothing better than
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, create fond memories around food so that they become better eaters for life. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful and so thankful for having you here on this platform,
Thank
and
you. Hmm.
taking these questions from our parents and answering them. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.